is Mary Warwick, and Tejas and I would like to welcome you to the TWRC Wildlife Center. Established in 1979, our mission is to promote environmental conservation through public education and the rehabilitation of native Texas wildlife. TWRC takes in approximately 4,500 animals a year, all of them native Texas wildlife. We rehabilitate them and release them back into the wild. We do this two ways. We have home-based rehabbers that take some animals, and if the animal is a baby squirrel, a baby possum, or a baby songbird, it is raised here in-house and then taken out to the wild and released.
My name is Amber Lown, and I'm the Educational Animal Coordinator for the TWRC. Today I'm going to introduce you to some of our animal ambassadors. This big guy is named JJ Watts because when he came to us, he was the same length as the height of a certain well-known local football player. This guy is a bull snake, and they are native to areas a little bit west of here that are a bit more dry. Bull snakes often run afoul of people because they are very convincing rattlesnake mimics, but they are not venomous. You can see from his coloration and the texture of his scales how he could be easily mistaken for something a little bit more dangerous. These guys are actually fantastic neighbors to have, and many snakes are, in fact, great neighbors. They help to control rodent populations that would otherwise run amok and spread disease. If you find yourself encountering an unwelcome snake visitor in your yard, there are some tips for staying safe, including never picking up a snake that you are not 100% sure of the identity, and never placing your hand in areas that you cannot see that might harbor snakes. If you do not want them in your yard, don't run off to the hardware store to get repellents because they are not actually very effective. Instead, what you can do is cut your grass short, remove all debris that might hide snakes, and if you find one that might be venomous, you can encourage it to move along with a blast from a cold water hose. Left alone to do their job of controlling rodent populations, these guys actually make fantastic neighbors and contribute to the urban ecosystem. Here's another good neighbor to have around Houston. This is Iris. She is an eastern screech owl. She is fully grown. She is over 11 years old, in fact, and average size for a screech owl. They are the most common owls in our region. Iris was brought to us as a nestling. She was no larger than the size of 2 stacked cotton balls. She was found on the ground, and it soon became clear that one of her eyes did not develop properly, and she is blind on that side. Iris and other owls like her make fantastic neighbors in Houston because their diet consists primarily of small rodents and also many larger insects such as flying cockroaches that you may not want to find around your house. You may notice just how flexible her neck is. Owls are known for being able to turn their heads a full 270 degrees. One of the reasons for this is that their eyes are so large in their sockets that they don't actually turn. They must turn their entire head to see a different view. There are a few ways you can help good neighbors such as Iris out in Houston. That would include avoiding trimming your trees in the spring nesting season. These guys are so well camouflaged you'd never know they're there, but they are cavity nesters, and they need those trees to be able to raise their families. Another thing is avoiding using rodent poison. Oftentimes, a poisoned mouse will keep moving for quite a while, but they're slow and easy prey for birds of prey such as Iris, and that poison can also harm them. Our next good neighbor to have is Parsley. Parsley here is a Virginia opossum. Opossums are North America's only marsupials. These guys are incredibly beneficial to have in your backyard because they're a disease-resistant cleanup crew with an iron stomach. Their diet includes insects that you may not necessarily want to have around, such as cockroaches and the ticks that carry Lyme disease. They'll also eat dead animals or carrion and clean up things that you don't want lying around spreading disease or rotting, such as overripe fruit or expired vegetable matter. Did I mention disease resistant? Since they are marsupials, their body temperature is too low to successfully incubate the rabies virus. So cases of rabid possums are astonishingly low. Opossums tend not to cause very much backyard damage or property damage. You can see on his paws here, he has fingernails that are very similar to ours. They're not very strong, and they cannot cause damage to homes or siding. You may have heard the term playing possum, but what actually is that? As a matter of fact, it's not an act. When a possum is very frightened, maybe it's faced by a predator or a dog, they will in fact faint, and their body temperature will drop a few degrees. They might foam at the mouth and release a very stinky smell. That's all to convince a potential predator that they're probably diseased or dying and not actually a very good meal. That state can last from minutes to hours, and they're actually very vulnerable while they're out. So it's best to leave them to do their cleanup job in peace and not try to force them out. Give these good neighbors the space they need to do their jobs, and they'll serve you well in your backyard.
Here we are in our animal care department. This is where all of our baby birds, baby opossums, and baby squirrels are raised in-house. If you find a native Texas animal that's either orphaned or injured, please go to our website at TWRCwildlifecenter.org and click on the Found an Animal button. That'll give you information about what to do until you can get the animal into our center, or call 713-468-8972. Thanks for watching, and thanks for caring for native Texas wildlife.